Hi everyone, welcome to game 12 of the World Championship match between Lasker and Marshall. Once again, Lasker had a 4-point lead in the match, and in games 9, 10, and 11, they were all drawn. And I'm not going to look at those games, although some of them were a little interesting. In this game, Lasker is white, and we're going to start from the beginning here. So e4, e6, d4, d5. French defense, bishop to d3. It's not the most common move nowadays, but okay, Marshall plays the move c5, knight f3, pawn takes, knight takes, pawn takes f6, knight takes f6, pawn takes f6, knight takes d4. Then now, of course, if queen takes knight, bishop b5 wins the queen. Now we take a look here. Black's pawn structure is compromised. Typical from Marshall, he's trying to mix it up somehow right away. Bishop to d7, bishop e3, knight c6, bishop e4. It's a fine move. Queen a5, c3, rook c8, castles. So what is going on here? Well, if you take a look at the position, Lasker has all of his minor pieces developed and is king safe and has a completely sound pawn structure. Meanwhile, on the other hand, Marshall has a not so sound pawn structure and his king is still in the middle of the board. Overly risky and ambitious play from Marshall. And I think right now is a good time to give a quote. I have to look it up online real quick. All right, I have found it. In Marshall's autobiography, he had a quote about this match. And let's just say Marshall does not do very well in this match. As you can tell, it's already 4-0. He gives only one sentence in his autobiography on it and says, "Tedious play aimed at wearing down my opponent is averse to my nature." So basically, I mean, yes, Marshall, a very strong player for his time, but basically he's just making excuses. Like, he's basically saying that, you know, he wants to play attacking fun chess, his opponent's sucking the life out of the game. And that's silly. Chess is a game where you try to win. You know, nobody really would take his argument seriously these days. Because Lasker completely outplayed him in every facet of chess and didn't allow him to have the fun attacks that he's used to getting. But Marshall would try to get them anyway, and almost in positions where it just didn't make sense. So rook g8, rook e1, natural move, eyeing the king, knight e5, and white just takes the pawn that black has offered, and then comes back. So now, I mean, as you can see, it's just like Marshall feels like, you feel like he's just like some hyperactive child that just can't resist going for crazy sacrifices. And he's down a pawn here. His king is still in the center of the board. Where is his attack? Where are the pieces that he's using in this attack? It's hard to say. Bishop f4. You know, white's completely solid here. Queen f3. I mean, just absolutely no attacking chances for black. And white just takes on f6. And now black's plan was rook takes h2, with the idea that after king takes rook, knight to g4. Can we find some reasons why this move doesn't work, however? Feel free to pause your video while you're thinking about it. Okay, so I mean, there's honestly a lot of reasons, but the one he played in the game is pretty strong. Just move this bishop on e4. And now the thing is, we're attacking his knight, and we're protecting the g4 square. And f5 is probably the most accurate way. So like the rook, I mean, you can't do anything. We're just going to take the knight or the rook. So rook h5, rook takes knight. And honestly, we're just up a piece. And this kind of does it. Knight f3, and white's up a piece. And of course, won the game very easily. So what I'm showing here is just the difference in kind of like style between the two players. I mean, Marshall just cannot help himself with the attacks. He's just unable sometimes to play a sound positional game. He did it for 3 games in a row, drew a bunch of games, and now, you know, he just kind of went haywire in this game, and now he's down 5-0. And it's interesting to see, like, in tournaments, Marshall has been playing very well, but in a head-to-head match against somebody like Lasker, his weaknesses are getting completely exposed. So thanks, guys, for watching this game. There's a few more left in this match, but 5-0 lead for Emanuel Lasker. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.